Learn how to automate the process of initial drawing creation, as well as how utilizing file properties and print convert filters will get the right output without missing a single file. If you are new to the ATR Custom Tools software, go ahead and get the free 30-day trial version by following the link in the description. But please do that after the presentation. Welcome to this, our first webinar of 2026. This webinar is, as always, recorded and will be published on our YouTube channel. You can find all our previous webinars there and many other tips and tricks about our software. At the end of this presentation, I will be answering your questions, so please use the chat and input them there as you go. I will answer these at the end of the presentation to allow you to follow the webinar without distractions. My name is Tim and I'm the Senior Application Specialist with ATR Soft. I discovered ATR Custom Tools in 2010 and I have not looked back since then. Working with SolidWorks and its ecosystem since 2008 and now focused on project work automating the integration from CAD to ERP systems. Always looking for the easy solution because a great machinist is a lazy machinist. Let's go for the live presentation, and here I am going to focus on the properties first of all. So I'm just going to open the properties panel and pin this down, and then we can freely select the properties from each file and view those. So for instance, this roller has a type process called make and turning, and we can select that using the all new check list that we have. And if you haven't watched anything about that, Simo Ackenheimer had a webinar in December, and I strongly encourage you to go look at that. It's the What's New 2026 SP0 webinar. But here we can define different properties that match the file and the processes it will undergo. And I can freely select different components in the graphics view and see the properties that we have made for these. And you can see that there are different properties assigned. If I select a subassembly, I can see that this entire subassembly is a buy-in component. And if I just go and open one of these components in its own window, let me just close this one first. So opening up one of the components, and we can have a look at the properties that are defined. And we can see that there is an item type that is made of make, bending, sheet metal, laser cut, and painting. So these are the properties that were assigned to this part file. Now we can use all of that information in the filters for the print and convert. So let's go there. So I'm going to open the print and convert in its own window. As we are using PDM Professional, we are prompted if we want to use local files or files from the server. I'm going to use the local files in this webinar. As we can see, there are no drawings created for my part files. There are for some of the other components in here, but these ones are the ones that we are interested in having drawings for. So under the tab called Drawing Automation, we can see that there are already created two different missing drawings, create missing drawings. Let's do the sheet metal first and see what happens. So if I select that one, we can see that this and this file was selected, and there is now added a drawing to it. Let me just uncheck that, and you can see the drawing is removed. And now we add it. And this is going to be driven by properties that we have in the type and process. So let's first take a look at the drawing automation. If I right click this one, I can edit it. And we can see that this is a rule name called sheet metal. There is no script added. We can do very complex per company rules using a script, and that can be pretty much anything that you would like to have added to a drawing. Then we can set up which drawing template to use for this and the sheet format. We can also select if we want to insert BOM and what the sheet name is going to be called. But we can see that we are defining a property. In this case, property already exists in custom tools, and for the drawing that is called drawing automation type. and we are setting the value of sheet metal. We are not adding any dimensions in this case. If I investigate the filter, we can see there is a filter applied. I can edit that. And then in the next window, I can see that this very basic rule is going to select if the type process contains sheet metal. So anything sheet metal is going to be selected. Let me copy this and just cancel it, and then we can paste that into the search string in here and then search. And we can see that there are exactly 3 places where we have sheet metal defined, and we have 3 files selected. So that is exactly what we expected. Now let me just run this really simple and show what we can do. I am going to, we can just run that just as it is. No further action. So now we are going to create 3 brand new drawings, and they are going to be created, and that's it. So nothing really fancy is happening other than it did that for us. So let's go back to SolidWorks and have a look. Now, if I rerun the print and convert, you will see that there are now files existing for some of these, obviously. So now drawings exist for those that we just created. If I want to do something more fancy, I can always go back to my PDM. You wouldn't probably normally do this, but in this case I'm going to show you. So I'm just going to explore into this folder, and I will delete these 3 drawings because I want to recreate them again. So off you go, no drawings exist anymore. Now I would like to do a bit more, because we can actually create at the end of all of that a PDF file that is merged, and then we can have that for review and see quite easily what needs to be done. Because obviously these drawings are not finalized in any way, but we can get a very quick result. We can have all the drawings created with predefined views, we can save them, and that is already quite a big task that we remove from our shoulders. So let's go to the print and convert again and finalize the profile for this one. So we are going to use the local files as before. Now we are going to do the drawing automation, and I would like to add one more because I also want to I want to create drawings for my assemblies. So I can create a new missing drawing rule, and let's call that assemblies. And for the drawing template, I'm going to browse and find a drawing template. Note that these, by the way, needs to be defined in your SolidWorks options. I'm just going to use this one, and then the sheet format. We can use A3 assembly, that seems to be a good choice. And we can insert a BOM if we want to. We can do the parts only. We can use a table template. If we are not using anything, we just use the default that we have. Otherwise, you can use your own template for this one. And you can define an anchor point. The sheet name can be defined from either the drawing template, which is the normal way, or you can use a configuration name, you can use a BOM part number, or a custom value for your drawing. It is also possible to set a property on these newly created drawings. So let's just make that drawing automation type and then say assembly. And let's not import any dimensions to that. We can say no auto or import from model, and we have whole callouts, wizard profile, mark for drawing, not mark for drawing. So we have some options available to us in here. All right, now we have a create missing drawing rule for assemblies. Let's select that. And we can see that this didn't really only select assemblies. Now, why is that? Well, this rule just applies to anything. There is no filter. So let's apply a filter first of all. In the next, I want to create a rule that the file type is an assembly. We can then go next and save this filter and finalize. Now we can see we removed all of the drawings except 2. And this one we really don't want a drawing for because that is a bought-in component. So let's filter out that one as well. Using the filter again, we can add a rule that the model property called type process is not by. So by this, we make sure that we only select items that are assemblies and does not have by in it. So let's go next, save this filter and finalize. And now we only get one drawing for this assembly, exactly as we wanted. Let's add a bunch of other settings as well. We want to create the sheet metal as well. We also want to do production drawings. So that is everything else. Now, if I just look at the filter for the production drawings, I can see that we can create more advanced filters if needed. So here we check that it doesn't contain sheet, it is not by, and it is a part file. So we have all of these controls available using filters. But we can do a lot more. We can add a cutting sheet for anything that is sheet metal, and we can create a bend sheet for anything that is sheet metal. I can also go to the override property values and add the quantity to everything. And then at the final step, I can go to the batch conversion. And here I want to create a new rule because I really want to have a final check. So I can create a new that applies to drawings, which is going to output PDF. And we can say that this is going to be merged into single file. So this is going to be top assembly file name, new drawing review, and that's it. And yeah, we can say new drawings to PDF. So this is going to just name the rule in the tree. So let's finalize that one. And again, this is going to select everything. And in this case, this is perfectly fine, although it is not entirely fine because we are actually selecting the other drawings that already existed. So let's make sure we run a batch conversion rule for this one. Now for this one, we would like to make sure that the file type is new drawing. And then we can apply that filter. And we should be able to see that at the bottom of this one, we already had some drawings for these washers. And now they are not anymore selected, only the new drawings are. We can even further automate this process, and I can save this as a template. So let's create a new template. Like that, and we can enable a quick launch for that. So okay for this, and now I can actually go and close this one. Now I have made it so that when I go into my ATR Custom Tools toolbar, I now have a button that is called Webinar January 26, and when I run that, I will be prompted, do you want to use the local or server files? I want to use local, remember that. And now it's going to process all of these files. It's going to create new drawings based on the filters that I defined. And it is going to, at the end, create a merged PDF file with all of these sheets embedded into it. Now, the PDF file can be easily opened and viewed, and you can even print it if you need, and then you can type in whatever you think is going to be relevant for the further process of cleaning up and making these drawings production ready. So it's a very huge time saver using it this way. I'm just going to let this run through and keep quiet while it does so. So now the process has completed, and we can go back to SolidWorks, and we can really quickly go and have a look in PDM. So let's explore to that folder, and we can see this PDF file that we just created. So if I go to the top, we can see that obviously we need to rearrange some views and we might need to do a bit of cleaning up. But we have inserted a drawing view and we have inserted a bill of materials. We also created standard 3 view and an isometric for everything, and we added all of the properties that were related in our title block. I can scroll through this PDF file and use this as a design review and then make decisions what to do next on all of these drawings. You will also see that we can insert these additional sheets where we insert a cutting profile as well as the information about material and the number of cuts and the total cut length required for making one of these. So we have a bunch of information available right from the get-go. We didn't do a whole lot of work. This was done by the system and we can make good decisions. So this is how it's working. That was the end of the live demonstration, so I will wrap up the presentation and I will then go to the questions tab. Thank you for joining the webinar. Please keep an eye out on your inbox for invitations for upcoming webinars, as I do not think we have anything currently planned. Also, you can go and check the webpage hcrsoft.com, and then at the top you can find HCR custom tools under the products menu item. So thank you for joining the session. I will end the recording and I will now address your questions. Thank you.